I love you, I said as I choked you. I broke your nose and spine too. Sorry, darling. I cared too much. Forgive my overwhelming love. For I just can't control myself.
In the Me office, a gray-haired old man was holding the autopsy report of his daughter when reading it out in a broken voice.
Massive retroperitoneal hematoma, all over polytrauma, multiple rib fractures, lung contusion, and multiple bruises on extremities.
Raising his head, he asked helplessly,
Sir, I don't know what this means.
The Me said in sympathy.
In brief, she was badly injured with half of her bones broken. And burst of lung.
TV show Under the Skin was hot online last month with two charming leading actors. The shock that comes from the TV show adapting real-life crimes makes us think. The plot of two women uniting in killing their abuser makes the audience totally relate. However, that's the end of the TV show. One real-life case inspiring the show had a completely opposite ending. Today, I'll walk you through the 2009 case of Dong Shanshan's domestic violence murder. Dong Shanshan was born in Beijing in 1983. In 2008, she met her future husband Wang Guanyu. She was a salesperson then, and developed a certain affection for this tall, strong guy. She said to her mom quite often that being with a guy like Wang made her feel safe. If she ever got into trouble, Wang would for sure knock someone down to protect her. So 9 months later, they got married. Shanshan's mom thought they were a sweet couple at first, but she got a call 3 months later that raised her doubt.
Hello, Mom, you sleeping?
What's wrong, Wang? It's 1 a.m. now.
Well, no biggie, M. Is Shanshan home with you?
Shanshan? No. She lives with you, doesn't she? Anything wrong?
Of course not. Right then, bye.
But Shanshan's parents still couldn't reach her. 3 days later, they called the police. The police questioned Wang if he had problems with his wife. Wang looked relaxed and said,
Come on. We're very close. I love my wife.
Things wasn't that simple. A week later, Shanshan cried in her mom's arms after returning home. It turned out she left to run away from her husband. She told her parents he always beat her. She would be jolted awake during sleep and shouted, with hands in protective posture, "Don't beat me, please." How severe the physical and mental tortures she'd suffered. In her later psychotherapy records, there were descriptions such as, "I'm so scared of my husband, 2 suicide attempts, took sleeping pills before marriage, so scared, shaking, terrifying look, tone and way of talking, her battered face, worried her colleagues, and dare not to fight back, etc." Due to these abuses she suffered major depression and moderate anxiety. Wang Guanyu, who was adopted, served 2 years in jail for illegal gun possession, great chances that he was violent. What happened the first time he abused Shanshan? She slept early that day while he didn't return until midnight for socializing. Back home, he threw her directly to the floor without saying a word. She, totally confused, got beaten yet didn't know why. Then Wang knelt in front of her, and said in tears,
I love you, I just lost control. This is the last time. Love is communication, not tolerance. It's sincerity, not evasion, and it's forgiveness. Shanshan, I did wrong. Forgive me.
Wang made lots of promises and even wrote a statement of repentance. Considering his sincerity, she forgave him. This happened before they married. And things got worse after marriage. Wang no longer excused his violence as misbehavior of drunkenness, but would beat her out of anger whenever scuffling or squabbling with others outside, or whenever having rough days. The abuse lasted longer, even for half the night one time. Also, he would force her to stand naked by the window for neighbors to see. In April 2009, she could bear no more, so she ran back to her parents' home and filed for divorce. Unexpectedly, Wang, ganging up with some men, burst in her home furiously to drag her away by force. Although her mom called the police, it seemed okay to the police that the husband came to bring the wife back in a civil dispute, so the case went unrecognized before they could divorce. During this time, Shanshan's parents once came to take their daughter back, but Wang kept fueling fear and pain in her and her parents to their limits by repeating the vicious loop of threat, regret and threat over and over. To protect parents, Shanshan left a note.
Dear Dad and Mom, forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye again.
Then she ran away and hid once more. She came back to her parents in September after disappearing for a while. However, her parents got freaked out to see her swollen belly, like she was pregnant. The test result showed she wasn't pregnant. Rather, she was beaten so badly that balloon-sized clots were in her body. It turned out she was found by Wang and his gang only a few days after her runaway. She was held captive for over 50 days, battered many times. After she fell, they soccer kicked her from her top to toe in a very inhumane assault style. You should know soccer kick is even banned in UFC fight. It's obvious that when doing this, Wang had absolutely no mercy for her. Soon her bones were almost all broken, and later she died of abdominal hyperemia. She was indeed punched to death. Convicted of domestic abuse, Wang was sentenced to 6.5 years, 810,000 in restitution. That's it. This is not right. What's more frightening is that DV victims often can't receive the attention they need or proper compensation. What's worse, some internet trolls even blame victims at this point. Well, I must refute some unreasonable logic, including causal theory, family matter theory, and bias theory. Let's have a clear understanding of domestic violence. 1. Causal theory. People holding this theory will always ask, why don't you think of the reason? Maybe they are cheating or crossing the line so others have to do so. To me, people holding this view sound unbelievably ridiculous. Because they blindfold themselves so not to see the fact. They always believe there is a reason for the attacker. Awful things happen every day, yet we adults have to handle them. No matter what the reason is, you're not justified to kill. Nor can you bash someone's head. After all, everything occurs for a reason. Many murderers will argue, I'm mentally ill. I lost control. Society mistreats me. This person laughed at me, I can't take it. That man's cheating on me. Dudes, how many people like these you will meet in your life? Can you count? Do you have the right to kill people only because you feel hurt? Much domestic violence is long-term abuse. That means many victims give time and chance to attackers. There is a cool-off period. If you're really so furious that you have to kill someone, there are other ways you can resort to. For example, legal action like divorce. Given all the legal choices, if you still decide to kill someone, no excuses work for you. 2. Family matter theory. This view mainly appears in the early stage of abuse. Many people, even law enforcers and victims' families and friends, see the abuse as nothing but an internal affair. They coax victims, causing the violence to further escalate. I can say for sure that people sharing this view can't be bothered to try to know about what exactly the victims have been through both physically and mentally. Only when you know clearly can you offer your opinions. Otherwise, you might say, just a few hits, you'll be alright. You should fight back and then he'll sweeten you, trust me. Or, spats are inevitable, this is what couples do, totally normal. Take it easy. Sound familiar? Guys, your arrogant guidance may mislead victims. When someone gets hurt and he chooses to open up to you, that means he wants you to offer some emotional value and suggestions. You'd better not offer advice. If you advise the victims indiscreetly, because it's very likely they'll minimize the abuser's fault and then forgive their abusers, which can result in tragedy. Your push hurts the victims like a knife. Violence is what it is. Its nature won't change whatever the context. All couples fight, everyone gets beaten at school, and rookies in the workplace always get bullied, are typical words heard from people. These words justify violence. 3. Bias theory. Here I need to stress one point. As DV cases increase, many have started to shift their focus to attack the male sex. It's highly biased. Admittedly, the ratio of abuse by men against women is high because of physical differences. But there are different types of DV. A male asked carefully online once what to do if his wife abused him, but all he got was mocking. No one took it seriously. The 24-year-old programmer was splashed with hot oil and poked with scissors, scars all over body, but nobody cared. Today, I want to make a strong appeal. Domestic violence occurs between spouses, between parents and children, and between siblings as well. I talked about several similar cases before. I do hope you can all take this issue without any bias. To sum up, whatever their age and sex, what domestic abusers do is evil. As we all know, babies tend to smack others suddenly. So abusers are grown-up babies. They're educated to follow moral norms before growing into adulthood, but repeat hurting others using "I can't control myself" as an excuse, like babies. No matter who you hurt, your family or not, you should go to hell. Stories tell the truth of us all. Don't lie to yourself, listen to you to stay wise. If you like my shows, if my shows offer you something to reflect upon, don't forget to like, save, share and comment. See you at the same time next week. Bye.